Hello everybody, this is your girl Giselle Ureña, and you're now rocking with Revolutionary G-Talk.
Today we have our first interviewer with us. How you doing?
Good, I'm excited.
Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us who you are, what's your name, where you come from?
Sure, I'm Stanley Porter. I'm a personal trainer, hailing all the way from planet Earth. I'm just joking. No, but I was born in Boston, specifically Roxbury. Started out as a history teacher and musician, and so somewhere during the course of the interview we'll figure out how I got into the world of personal training. So yeah.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. And I just wanted to introduce his book. He's also an author. He did not mention that. You can purchase this through Amazon. The name is The Wait Is Over. I recommend it. It is inspirational, powerful, impactful. So get yours. All right, why don't we get started and talk to me a little bit more about your book.
Okay. Let's see. This is actually my second book, and so I say that not to take emphasis off of this book, but I say it because my style, the genre I do best in is memoirs. So I wrote a memoir called Every Song Has a Story because, again, as I said before, I used to be a musician, and it was really about my life growing up in Boston, low-income neighborhood, and I took some of the songs that I wrote, and that was like each chapter was one of the song titles, and then I kind of told you about my journey to that realization. So fast forward, years later after that, I was involved in a car accident and sustained a concussion. And so I was not able to work out. I was a gym rat, but I wasn't really into fitness. Gym rat, you just go with your guys, your peoples, and you lift heavy, you know what I mean? And you just want to get big. I mean, that's it, get big. And so, and I was eating all kinds of things, whatever. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I grew up in the hood, so the corner store was my friend, you know what I mean? I'm getting beef patties, I'm getting pork rinds, I'm getting, cupcakes, I'm getting it all, I'm getting it in.
Exactly.
And I'm eating, sausages and for breakfast and grits and eggs, and nothing wrong with these things. Well, let me backtrack. Some of that stuff I did mention. There's some stuff wrong with processed foods, but what I mean is I'm not the type of person that looks at one item of food and says that's horrible. Like if you do away with cupcakes, your life will be amazing. I'm not saying that, but the combination of all these things, and then put the accident in play, where I became sedentary for the first time in my life. I was always moving around. Maybe not as efficiently as I should have. But so there's levels to exercise, there's levels to movement. There's, are you moving at all? And then are you moving to the best that your body will allow? So I wasn't moving to my best, but at least I was moving, right?
Exactly.
But then you take the movement away because now I have to let my brain heal. Now we got a problem with my eating because my lifestyle and habits hadn't changed. And all that worked together to produce high cholesterol. And so, I mean, my triglyceride count was 10 times the level it should have been. 10 times. Like the doctor was looking at me from a routine checkup, checked my head, and they were like, we're surprised that you're not like stroked out right now. And I was like, what are you talking about? I told them, retest the numbers again. They did, same results. They said, we're going to have to put you on cholesterol medication. And I really didn't want to do that because I was, I considered myself a young man at the time, and everybody that I associated with taking medication for cholesterol and diabetes or whatever it might be, they were they looked different, they in my demographic but older, and I was like, I'm not them yet, I don't want to be on these meds. And so, make a long story short, this is probably why I mentioned the first book, not even knowing it. I had started a writing forum online for youth when I was a teacher, where we would share pieces of what we were writing and give each other feedback. So I had written in between the two books something called the Inspired Life Pledge, which is in this book. So summarize, first book was already done. Before this book was written, I was big on self-affirmations, because that's how I got through my day. I would tell myself things. I would repeat that stuff on the bus. It didn't come from anybody. I just made it up. And then I would show up and enter the door or whatever space I was entering into, and I'd be ready to go. Like, you couldn't cool me off. But that was a result of constantly, getting my head in a good space. And in a lot of these places I showed up for, I felt underqualified. I felt afraid. I was anxious about things. But I was chosen to be the one. Like, I'm Neo, I guess. I didn't feel like I was the one. But what are you going to do when you're selected? Exactly. Either by divine providence or by the people in your community. When you are anointed to be the one, and you don't think that you're, ready
or capable,
what are you going to do? You got to fight it up here. And so that's what I did every day. And so in between the two books, I created something called the Inspired Life Pledge, which was based on principles that I was constantly telling myself. Things like, where's my faith right now? Things like, are you giving? Whether you're mentoring somebody or you're giving a helping hand, like you've got to be a giver. And that's the root of what you do, because it comes back. What goes around comes. If I'm giving good energy, I'm going to get good energy. So what do I give in this situation? I'm going to be fed off of that. So these are a couple of the principles. So I, want to find the youth from the youth forum to take a look at my writing.
That's awesome.
So I'm looking for them. I can't find them. And this, back when I started, MySpace was the big thing. So now it was no longer at this point. So I'm looking on Facebook, and I see one of them, but she's not responding. So I see one of the friends that has the same last name. So I'm like thinking that it's her sister.
It's her sister.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to get in contact with your sister. Have this piece, yada, yada, yada. And she's like, well, I'm her mom. I was like, oh, excuse me. Excuse me, Mom.
You made her day.
I know, right? Because she really looked like her sister. And she says, I'll take a look at it. And I was like any good mom should be like, who's this guy online trying to reach out to my daughter? You know what I'm saying? So she takes a look at it and she hits me back and she's like, I love it. And she was like, I'm a personal trainer. I'm a woman of faith too, and I've been looking for something to pass along to my clients. She's the co-author. Yeah. Shout out, Nakisha Nunn. Shout out.
Wow, very powerful.
And so we start talking, and this is around the time where I'm dealing with my high cholesterol, right? And so while we're talking, and she shares with me some of her journey, and she says, I too used to be obese. And here's another thing. Can I interject something about obesity? A lot of people think about obesity in terms of an image that they have, somebody that's severely like 600 pounds, right? But you can actually be obese if you are, even if it's just a few pounds past being overweight for your height. You know what I mean? And your body fat percentage is really high. There's some people walking around whose body fat percentage is close to like 40 and 50% of their whole body mass is body fat. But because they wear it well, you know what I mean? Or they're not at the stage of the people that they see on TV that are just stuck in their bedroom, they might not think of themselves as being obese. So, often we get thinking about these extremes and we have to be careful. But anyway, so I was, clinically, obese, you know what I mean? And she was too, even though we were not 600 pounds. For our height, and age, how much body fat were we carrying around?
Exactly. It's affecting your health.
That's right.
Exactly.
And so, anyway, she told me her story and what brought her there. Mine was an accident and being sedentary. For her, it was depression. And so, as we got to talking, and I said, man, people need to hear your story. I said, you're inspiring me. And she said, well, I'm not a writer. I said, well, I am. And so she's giving me all this nutritional advice and workout advice. And I said, well, the exchange, since I'm not paying you, let me write your story. And that's how the book was born.
And this is where the wait is over came from.
That's right.
Wow,
absolutely.
That is amazing. Look at that. Through connecting her through Facebook, you were aiming for her daughter.
That's right.
And God put her in the way.
Indeed.
That's awesome. So why don't you tell a little bit more about the two topics that you have regarding being a couch potato. It's my favorite one. And how to get out of that.
Right. So what you're referring to, we met about a year or so ago at a workshop. And one of the things that I like to do in the workshops is take pieces of the book and make it interactive. People tend to respond well to that. Yes. So we have a couple of case scenarios, because we could talk about, body mass index, body fat percentage.
Exactly.
We can talk about all those things, but sometimes
and people are gonna be like, huh?
yeah. But if you give it a real life scenario,
Exactly.
people can be like, I can see myself. And so we have a few hypothetical case scenarios in there. One is being a worry wart, one is being a couch potato, one is being the cookie monster, and one is being, I think, the bridesmaid. And so, and each of those are hypothetical situations that people can say, I see a little bit of me in that, right? So the couch potato, the one you refer to, usually when we say couch potato, somebody who's like sits in front of the television, on the couch all day long.
Is that you?
And you know what? And it doesn't even have to be all day long too, because in our scenario, the guy has a job, and it's pretty stressful when he comes home. He wants to unwind, and so for him, like, he doesn't have a family, like kids running around. His things he's gonna put on the sports channel or something that he likes to show. He's gonna kick up his feet and he's gonna have a beer, and so the second, I don't want to say half of his day, but that huge portion after work is he's seated like this.
And think about it. This man can be working a 9-to-5 job,
Absolutely.
sitting down in front of a computer.
That's right.
So his body is already accustomed to staying in the same place for a long time. So your metabolism is not being exercised. Your body, your muscles, everything is just being stuck in one place. So now you go home and you continue this, and now you're intaking calories and fat, sugar, and all of that. You're basically killing yourself, little by little. But go ahead.
No, you're right. I mean, why is it that the ladies always give it to you straight? You know what I mean? Every scenario I'm in, if it's a lady talking about the same subject, she's going to say, "You're killing yourself."
You're killing yourself. Literally.
No, you literally
you
are. You literally are.
You're shortening your lifespan.
No, you absolutely are. And as a matter of fact, speaking of the how the ladies do it, when I was talking to Keisha about this, and I think the line is in the book where she says, "Well, I would ask." I think his name wasn't correct. I can't remember what his Phil. We gave him a fake name, Phil. And she said, "I would ask him, what do you think about what you're doing to your heart? Is this the heart you want to have? In 10 years, what's that going to look like? So that feels a little different." No, but you're right. And so what we're really talking about is being sedentary. When you're not moving. And you're right. He's at a job where he's kind of not moving around all day, and the stress that your body goes under. So here's a couple points that came to my mind. One is, you talked about metabolism, and there's a lot of people who kind of skip breakfast and keep going. Now there can be times where that's good if you're doing something called intermittent fasting. I think though that a lot of people are just trying things randomly, and they're not in a system, an organized effort. There's no timetable on it.
I am so sorry for interrupting
go ahead.
But that is a great point.
Yeah.
I believe that people are so stuck in wanting to make a change, but they don't know how to approach the change, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Because you can make all the changes that you want, but if they're not in the organized plan, way, you will not achieve the goal that you want to achieve, because your body is... Think about it as a system. If you change the system out of nowhere, it might crash on you. It's going to be confused.
That's right.
Like, wait, where did this fasting start from?
Yes.
I'm not used to this. I'm used to eating this at this time. So when you don't have a nice plan, and I call it plan because I don't want to call it diet. I don't believe in diet.
Yes.
I believe in lifestyles. A diet will make you depressed. A diet will make you feel like, I'm doing this and I don't want to do it. When you do it as a plan, a lifestyle, something that you're actually aiming for, you're more happy to approach it and do it, right? So,
That's right.
About the organized plan and approaching things correctly or in a way that can fit you, I recommend people to seeking help.
That's right.
You should talk to a nutritionist, talk to a personal trainer. You don't even have to pay them. Sometimes the gym that you go to, Platinum Fitness, you can approach the personal trainer there and say, "Hey, how can I approach this eating that I have? Like, this is what I do," and get some feedback, for 5 minutes.
That's right. And so bringing this into the context, because it sounds a little weird that I'm talking about, I bring that point up about breakfast with this guy, but you'll see the point I'm making about being sedentary, because you mentioned another word, metabolism. And so it's all the processes of things being built up in our body, being broken down, the processes that are necessary for us to live, that are happening internally. It's all metabolic stuff. And so let's take the example of like when you're sleeping, at night, your body's in a near comatose state, so everything is kind of shut down except for like, functions that help you to continue to breathe. But, everything's still. And so studies have shown that people who get up in the morning and eat earlier, actually their metabolism gets revved up. It's kind of like a car. It's been sitting, if it's cold, you gotta like turn it on, let it, kind of rev up and get ready to go. So people who skip breakfast tend to have their metabolism stalled for a longer period of time because there's nothing in it for the metabolism to react to. So it stays in the same state it was that overnight for a longer period of time. Yes, you're awake, but there's other processes that need to happen. You're not introducing anything into the equation to get your metabolism going like this. Okay, we ready now. Okay, I gotta digest, I gotta do this, So people who, so their metabolism might not get started fully until like 12, 1 o'clock.
Exactly.
Where the person that eats kind of something or drink water as soon as they get up, metabolism's like, oh, I gotta get ready to go. They're going probably about 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. And so the more your metabolism is active, the more calories you'll burn throughout the day. And so when we look at, this guy in this example, Phil, his metabolism is not active very much throughout the whole day. We're not even really talking about his breakfast habits, but this whole idea of my body and its internal processes not moving, and kind of being sluggish and slow and still, for him, it's happening throughout the whole day. And that puts and so he's gonna gain weight, with that kind of lifestyle, particularly because we know he's eating, right? Because in the example, he's got TV dinners, and he's also cracking open a beer, so we know that he eats. We didn't get into whether or not he ate breakfast or lunch, but we know eating. So let's just talk about what we do know in this hypothetical scenario. If it's a TV dinner, it's probably going to be high in sodium. It's probably going to be processed, food, which they could probably have put some kind of additives in it to give it a higher shelf life. Because it wasn't like somebody was in the back at the store, whipped that dinner up and gave it to him. It's been around, for a while. So it's got some kind of preservatives and additives and sodium in that meal, plus the alcohol, which carries its own, a set of calories per,
glucose.
Yeah, exactly. And it takes the body longer to metabolize the alcohol as well. So it's not something that's going to put him in a state to burn calories. So we've got the combination of putting stuff in the system that the body has a hard time breaking down, and he's not moving. So when you're exercising and you're moving, the whole idea is everything I do, even scratching, will burn some calories, not a lot. So you're not gonna lose a lot of weight by doing this all day, but just to give you an example, by me talking, I'm burning some level of calories. But if you're sedentary, you are not burning more calories than you're consuming. And that's the key when you're trying to be, healthy, is we got to think of food as fuel. Too many times we view food as a fix.
Yeah, exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
It's to fill up my stomach so I'm not hungry or hangry.
That's right, but it's fuel. So we eat in order for the food to perform a function, right? Not just to satiate our hunger. And so when we continually eat all these kind of empty calories and we're not moving, the calories build up, but we're not doing enough in our life to burn them off. And when we don't, those calories turn to fat.
That takes me to the next point.
Yeah.
You shouldn't wait until you're hungry to eat. And this is why we tend to gain weight quicker and slow down our metabolism, because we starve ourselves for so long, and then when we eat a large portion of food, and it can be a hamburger, it can be pizza, a lot of rice, chicken and beans, whatever, you name it. But since we're now intaking such a big portion of food out of nowhere and our metabolism is at a flat rate, then it's just like, wait, hold on, you're putting in too much. So I recommend that you eat more portions of food at a smaller, more.
No, you
eat more often.
Smaller portions.
With smaller portions. Okay, let's try that one more time.
Right.
So you eat more food throughout the day, but just smaller portions. So don't skip your breakfast. Don't skip your snack. Don't skip your lunch. Don't skip another snack and your dinner. Like, you want to maintain that consistency of intaking food, but just not a lot of it. And don't wait until you're hungry, because again, it's fuel. You want to continue fueling your body so it can continue burning calories.
No, you're absolutely right. And another point with this, to kind of land the plane on the couch potato example, is another thing we wrote in there is he goes to the gym on the weekends with his friend. So it was like, that's not enough time. And so that's another piece of this conversation. You know, we've got how we eat, but what does the activity look like? Remember I said there's levels to move. Do we move, but then we move enough? And then do we move enough, and do we move efficiently? Right? Because a lot of people out there moving a lot, but moving inefficiently will lead to injury. Right? So anyway, that's a whole other conversation. But here with this guy, he only goes on the weekend with his buddy. And so that's, he probably feels like I'm doing something. I'm probably going to go bench, and we're probably going to squat, but he's not able to go, you know, do the rest. I won't say he's not able. He's just not going. I'm not sure if he's not able. We didn't get into that yet, because a lot of people think that they can't go, but they can. They just don't make the choice or prioritize exercise. But the bottom line is, you should be, if your goal is to be healthy, the difference between exercise and ordinary movement, we call it activities of daily living. You know, that's like going to the grocery store, putting on your shoes, going up and down the stairs. Some people say, well, I work at a job where, you know, I move around through the different units, so I'm getting exercise. Okay, that's the activities of your daily life. Exercise is organized activity toward a certain goal. Okay, so if you are looking to be healthy, you need to exercise, not just move around. You need to actually exercise at least 3 to 5 times a week.
And when we say exercise, we don't say spend 2 hours at the gym just lifting weights.
Right.
That's not what it is. Exercising means that you want to do the 5 components of exercising, like stability, acceleration, balance. What is the other one?
I'm not sure the model that you're using here, but you know, there's a lot of things we need to be doing.
Exactly. To kind of really exercise.
Absolutely.
You want to not only stay in one place lifting weights.
Right.
That's not going to do it for you. You know, you want to maintain that.
Right.
Accelerate your blood pressure,
Yes,
and your heart to pump. You know, get accelerated.
And this is why we need, like you said earlier, to sometimes get help, because we don't really know. And here's something else about exercise too. I think people need to particularly, because I know this is going to go viral on social media, but the social media people especially need to hear this. And we were talking about this, is how people just look at what they see posted all the time. Fitness is about finding out what is best for you, your body, your journey. No, I said your body and your journey. Those are slightly different, right? My journey implies where I'm headed, where I'm going. My body means, of course, what my genetic makeup is, what my metabolism is like. So just, let's take those two real quick. My body there's something different going on than your body, right? So I can't necessarily just take your workout and expect to get the same results.
Exactly.
There's a lot of different reasons for that.
Exactly.
And then also, where am I headed, you know, in life? So, and I'm going to say this, that's the risk of getting, if any of my friends at the gym see this, don't say nothing. But for real though, I got to keep it real. I've had aspirations of doing bodybuilding shows, you know, because people see me and they're like, man, you got a frame that is good for that. And there are times in my life where I get excited about it. Okay, I'm going to do it. I think you've done a show, right?
I was going to do it,
I've
actually.
seen the level of conditioning you got. I said,
I was going to do
it. But peep this, let me finish. The question is that, though, there are certain times, though, where I realize, well, where am I headed, though, with my life? And is doing a bodybuilding show right now going to get me closer to where I'm headed? Like, how does that fit in the context of what I'm actually doing and what I'm about in my life?
Decision making.
So I have the body for it, right? So my body, but what about my journey? What about my goals, right? Because from what I know from the time I have spent prepping for a show, you go through a lot of changes. And based on what you're trying to do and how available you need to be for the people around you, for your family, for your career, are you in a space to try to go for that ideal body, or to go through the mood changes that you will experience when you're low carbing? You know, to really isolate yourself from friends. Because listen, when you're prepping for a show, you know, your friend, this stuff, you don't socialize as much in the gym. Are you kidding me? Nobody got no time to talk to you about this, that, and the other. Like, I got a show to prep for, and I gotta, you know, boom, 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 boom. I gotta follow an exercise plan, and I gotta fit it in this time. So I don't have a. So you find people really that just work out really with, you know, if other people are prepping for show, they're with coaches. They come in and they laser focused because that stuff is gonna. I don't look. If I'm low carb, I only have X amount of energy, and I need all of it to be in this workout. So, but the question is, for your journey in your life right now, is that a space that you can be in and still be effective in the other areas of your life? Sometimes it is, and sometimes it's not. So I don't even know how we got on that point, but you know.
No, that's good. That's a really good point. It's about not comparing yourself.
Yes.
Don't compare yourself to other people's journey. You know, everybody is walking in their own path. So you need to make decisions based on you, your lifestyle, your body, your mental health, you know? So I think that's a really good point. It's very important. All right, thank you so much.
Yeah, man, I'm sorry. I felt like I was just going on and on and on, but there's so much to talk about. Maybe you'll have me back.
I will have you back for sure. All right, thank you so much, Stanley. It's been a pleasure. Please don't forget to purchase this book. It will really change your life. And again, you're awesome.
Thank you. Likewise.
We have come to the end of this episode, but please stay tuned for the next one. And thank you. I hope you enjoyed it. And any feedback you have, please leave it down below in the comments. Thank you so much.